Hello and welcome everyone today. I'm recording both a YouTube and a podcast. Today's topic is called depression or spiritual calling. And we're going to discuss where the spiritual calling or an awakening can have very many similar symptoms to depression. So first and foremost, as always, if you haven't gone to hectorsalva.com and gotten your newsletter, your free master classes, as well as all the other information we have there, you'll definitely want to do that. You can check me out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, at Hungan Hector. And you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Anchor.fm, where it's hosted. So, depression or spiritual calling. That's the topic of today's show. And first and foremost, I want to say that depression does exist. So, depression is something that is real. People do suffer from depression. However, depression and the spiritual calling can and often do have similar traits, and it's easy to get the two of them confused. In fact, I had someone not that long back who contacted us because they thought for a long time that they were depressed. They were drawn down, sunken, feeling really bad, but not about anything specifically. Overall, life was not that bad, and they could recognize that. But there was something missing. They knew that there had to be something greater in life. So they knew that there was something missing in their life. There was a connection missing, something that they needed in order to have a full and complete life, to really feel complete and to be able to experience regular progress, contentment, happiness, freedom, and peace. So things were out of balance and out of whack. In many ways, this person's life was good. However, the spiritual calling can also make it so that many areas of your life turn really shit. They go really bad. And that can also be a symptom or a side effect of what happens when you're being called spiritually, but you're not necessarily answering the call. Oftentimes, people do not have enough of an exposure spiritually to know that they're not undergoing depression or some other issue, but in reality, they're being called by something greater. So one thing you want to look for is that your case? Are you saying there has to be more? There has to be more to life than this. There has to be something greater. There has to be something greater than physical success and things that you may have or own. That's one of the things, is that someone receiving a spiritual calling is searching for something more, something that's deeply fulfilling. Only spiritual, I'm going to use only the word of knowing truth. Only by knowing truth will you really be deeply fulfilled. And there's a path to knowing truth. However, you have to step and walk upon that path if you hope to reach the ultimate truth. So that's A. B is spiritual callings can and often do create a wreckage of your life, financially, emotionally, physically, romantically. This is another side effect. Very often, it can create a wreck out of your life, and many of the similar symptoms of depression and feeling a drawing down and sunken. So feeling really drawn down, sunken, without motivation, without purpose. So that's C. If you're looking for deeper purpose and meaning to your life, and this is part of what's actually happening as to why you're experiencing life the way that you are, this can be your spiritual calling that's calling you. This could be the calling, the awakening that's happening. And it's only a very little kind of like light upon your eyes when you're sleeping, kind of like feeling like, hey, maybe the dawn, maybe the day has really started and I'm still sleeping. So, like this individual who realized that, it's not working when there's a calling, okay? Therapy is not going to work. Talking about it's not going to work. Doing a whole bunch more things is not going to work. And ultimately, many times you're not going to have the energy to do a whole bunch of other stuff instead of because you're just drawn down. So you're not going to have that energy to go and run around and do a whole bunch of other stuff. So what do you do? When you're having a spiritual calling, it's important for you to go find yourself a proper spiritual master, a sage, right? That's really the next step for you. That's really how you're going to be able to progress spiritually. There's many people out here that are not going to understand what you're going through. And I always say that when people come to progress spiritually, what they're looking is to improve their lives, make their lives better, find that balance, that life-giving force, that energy that's going to make life work, not cause more issues in their life. However, if you're being called spiritually, you can end up with more issues in your life until you start taking the steps upon that path. So, very much like depression, it's going to sap energy out of you. You're going to feel very unmotivated and undriven. On another way, in a positive way, it can have you looking for the deeper meaning of life and the more. However, there are many false paths. There are many like little detours off the path. And these detours are just going to like get you caught up in these little other areas which don't lead anywhere. So when you're feeling that calling, when that calling comes to you, one of the things that I always tell everyone is look towards the divine, look towards God, look towards truth, light, that which the higher force. Look there first. Seek a connection there first. There are many other ways that a spiritual calling can come through. And I'll be doing videos about those other ways of a spiritual calling. However, what we're discussing in this with depression is that the symptoms of depression and the symptoms of a strong spiritual calling, okay, often mimic each other. Let me move something. Often mimic each other. And one gets often confused for the other, which then causes that your kind of looking for a solution for depression. But in reality, what you're looking for is spirit. What you're looking for is a spiritual connection, meaning, clarity, purpose, that more that exists. Because there is more that exists. There is more that's beyond what you're currently aware of. And in that more, there's bliss. So, if that's what you're experiencing and you need help, feel free to reach out to us. We're at help@lifeawakeningcenter.com. Feel free to, or help@mysticalwork.com. Feel free to reach out to us. We're here and we can help you, because that next step for you is connecting A, with the divine, and B, looking for the proper guidance to get you moving forward and progressing, so that just as this individual who we have moving forward has already found, there is more. There is peace, there is clarity, there is happiness and contentment, there is more. There is more than what you currently thought it was, and you weren't wrong. There is something that is deeper, that's more fulfilling, abundant, and can bring you radiance into your life. So again, if anything, contact us. I'd like to hear your comments below. Or if you're listening to this on the podcast, you could email us your comments. And many blessings. Keep the faith.